Hello Machinima Respawn, welcome to Black Ops In Depth, episode 19, Tubes and Launchers. This is going to go somewhat similar to the last Tubes and Launchers we had in Modern Warfare 2, and again, Josh GT2 is providing the footage. This time around, I decided I was going to be the good guy and provide the footage and make everything come full circle, but unfortunately the developments and If It Were Realistic and the rest of my work schedule do not allow this to be a reality for me. So once again, Josh will be supplying the footage, and we will both be doing commentary. Bear in mind that the numbers and statistics for the launchers are a little bit funnier to understand, so we might have to go a little bit slower than normal. One important fact to keep in mind is that launchers have a maximum and minimum damage, kind of like the bullets, but theirs works on a blast radius or splash damage kind of system, with the maximum amount of damage being at the very center of the radius and the very least amount of damage at the edge of the radius. First up today, we're going over the grenade launcher, or the noob tube. That's right, everybody's favorite noob tube. Not quite as powerful in Black Ops as it was in Modern Warfare 2. It attaches underneath your assault rifle. The first thing to keep in mind is that it takes 0.75 seconds to raise. That means when you hit the button change to your grenade launcher, it's going to take 0.75 seconds to do that. After you've fired, it's going to take 3.13 seconds to reload without sleight of hand. But now let's go to the explosive part. It has a total radius, not diameter, but radius of 7.5 meters. It does 155 damage at the very center of that explosion and 25 damage near the end of that explosion. To get a one-hit kill, I would say you need to be within about 3.5 meters of the target. Outside of that, the likelihood of a one-hit kill drops pretty good. It has to travel 9.5 meters to actually explode, otherwise it'll be a dud and just bounce around. And one more thing to keep in mind is that if you direct impact somebody with a grenade, the direct impact damage is 135. That makes this a one-hit kill every time. If you're playing a goofy zombie survival kind of thing, maybe not, but it should one-hit kill impact every time.
Direct shot to the chest or not, I'm not really too scared of the grenade launcher on underneath the assault rifles or the AK-74U all too much anymore in Black Ops. Obviously in Modern Warfare 2, these are a pretty big thing, as with the combination of danger close, one-man army, scavenger, things like that. They were a huge problem and a huge deal. Now in Black Ops, they really don't scare me all too much. I find that thanks to Flak Jacket, thanks to not being able to resupply all your grenade launchers on the underbarrel grenade launcher attachment, these are primarily not what people are going to put on their attachments first. If they're going to warlord something, maybe that might be the case, but for the most part, a lot of people are using the dual mags, the extended mags, the suppressor, things like that. Especially if they're going to use a 74U, they're going to put on the rapid fire and the grip. You really don't see the grenade launcher used all too much, and that's why I really don't have a fear for this too much in Black Ops.
Next, one of my favorite new toys, the Crossbow. The Crossbow actually has a greater maximum damage than the grenade launcher. The center of its damage, or its radius, does 200 damage. That's a ton of damage. The outer edge does 75 damage, which means that you cannot survive being hit by a crossbow in hardcore mode. Let me say this again, well, outside of Flak Jacket, but let me say it again. In hardcore mode, anybody inside the blast radius of the crossbow will die from the explosion unless they're wearing Flak Jacket. However, the radius is lesser. Whereas the grenade launcher had 7.5 meters, the crossbow has 4-meter radius, which is a little bit more than half of what the grenade launcher has. So you have to get closer to the target, but you still do more damage, if that makes any sense. I'll try explaining this a little bit differently. While you have to land these closer to the target, they do more damage and they drop off less, so you can really hurt people with a crossbow. It takes 0.3 seconds to raise, 2.75 seconds to reload, and 1.5 seconds to fuse. That means the crossbow blows up 1.5 seconds after it hits the person or the wall or whatever you're shooting at. So that might help you guys a little bit with timing. One more interesting thing, the crossbow actually does damage when you impact. It does 50 damage when you shoot somebody in the body just from the arrow itself, so you can get impact crossbow kills. This also means that in hardcore mode, every time you impact somebody with the crossbow, they're going to die instantly, and they won't be able to run and carry the arrow back to their teammates like the bad kids that we hope they are. Just keep that in mind.
Now the crossbow, everyone should be able to love in this game. It is basically one of the new staples, one of the new features that you get with Call of Duty Black Ops. It should just have it marked on the front of the box. This game has a crossbow that has explosive bolts. One thing to mention is that if you are playing Sticks and Stones, the crossbow is one of your primary weapons, and if you want to learn how to get really good with the crossbow, then try to play a couple of those wager matches. You might lose some money, you might win a lot of money. It doesn't really matter. You'll be getting pretty good with the crossbow. You'll be able to learn how to easily get people either sticking them, either by getting it in awesome radius, because the crossbow ain't too shabby. It's one of those special weapons I really don't see all too often, and I think that we should see them more, because getting kills, getting final kill cams with them are pretty awesome to see, and because you just don't see them all too often like you should.
Let's move on to some of the more specialty launchers like the LAW or the LAW. The LAW takes 1.1 seconds to raise, it takes half a second to aim down the sights, 3 seconds to reload. That's very if you have like Scavenger Pro or something and you actually get more ammo. If you're aiming at aircraft, it takes 2 seconds to lock on, then you can fire. The LAW impedes your running speed, so you can only run at 80% of normal speed. This is probably the slowest item in the game, running speed. Now let's talk about its damage. At the center of its blast radius, it does 160 damage, and at the very edge of the blast radius, it does 70 damage. The total radius is 5.7 meters, which is somewhere in between that of the noob tube and the crossbow. This one here has a very high outer radius damage, so in hardcore, this will also kill in one hit, and it will one-hit kill most of the time that you hit somebody if they're not wearing Flak Jacket Pro. The cool thing about this is that the missile is going to fly perfectly straight for a very long distance and won't start to tail off until, I don't know, after 50, 60, 100 meters. This would be the sniper rifle of launchers. It goes straight, it plows in there, and it kills people. Downside is you only get one shot and it's super slow to reload.
Alright, now that we're actually diving into the launcher category itself, the secondary option, and then you actually go into the launchers tab, the M72 LAW is probably my favorite one, and the reason behind it is that it's either going to be one of those freestyle ones where you can aim at a building, aim at a point on domination, or you can easily take out any type of spy plane, counter spy plane. You can try to go for the helicopters. I have been having sometimes a hard time, depends on basically my mood. I think the game can detect my mood and whether or not I'm going to hit a helicopter or not. I have sometimes spent 3 different LAW rockets trying to take down an enemy helicopter. The first one will take the flares and the other ones will just go flying right past it. It's all really based on luck, it seems, for me. But this is definitely my favorite one because of how versatile it is. Whether I want to use it to clear off a point or take out enemy air support, I can use it for both roles, and that makes me a better player and a better team player for that matter.
Now we're on to the RPG. This one's been scaled down a lot since Modern Warfare 2. It has the exact same blast radius and damages as the LAW. That being said, it has 160 in the middle, 70 at the outer radius, and the total radius is 5.7 meters. It's a little bit faster of a weapon to use. It only takes 0.73 seconds to raise, 0.5 to aim down the sights, and it takes a little bit longer than the LAW to reload at 3.3 seconds. However, this one comes with extra ammo, whereas the LAW only has 1, so you get multiple shots, and with sleight of hand, it still reloads fairly quickly. The downside to the RPG is that it spins and it drifts and tails and does all sorts of strange things. So outside of about 30 to 40 meters, or unless you're aiming at a very large target, it's not a very accurate weapon, and I wouldn't recommend it for anything other than cleaning out buildings, or if you just really want to piss some people off and have people bitch at you, this is a good gun to use.
Now, for you players out there that are really into clearing off the domination, demolition, sabotaging points, the RPG is definitely for you. Normally, if I see someone using an RPG, they definitely have an underbarrel grenade launcher attached as well, using sleight of hand to take the full effect of having that second rocket ready to go at a moment's notice, firing it away to make sure that no one is able to clear that point, take that point so that they can clear it every time, get the multi-kills. That's really what I see the RPG used for, and it does a really good job at just doing that.
The Strela, we're not going to talk about it too long because it's a different kind of launcher. Quite simply, it takes 1.1 seconds to raise, 0.5 to ADS in, 3 to reload, and 2 to lock on. It takes 2 missiles to shoot down helicopters. The first missile often deploys flares, second missile kills. I have never seen it hit the ground or smash into people or anything other than an aircraft, so I don't know why I would need to report damage or anything. But I would assume if Call of Duty Black Ops does something very strange and it misses the helicopter and swirls in towards something else and smashes into you and your whole team, don't expect to live. Last but not least, let's talk about the China Lake. Damage-wise, it is exactly identical to the undermount grenade launcher. It has 155 damage in the center of the radius, 25 at the end, and a 7.5 meter entire blast radius, which is pretty large. Some people can survive at the outer edges of the radius, but it's not too likely unless they're wearing Flak Jacket Pro. I was talking about hardcore again. And normal people can scoot by these pretty well, so you're going to want to hit within about 3 meters of the person. It takes 1.3 seconds to raise, and it takes 0.5 seconds to aim down sights, which you must do before firing. The fire rate on this gun is a little bit funny because you have to shoot once, then pump it, then shoot again. That is not affected by sleight of hand, your primary pump speed, but if you mix sleight of hand with Scavenger Pro, you get more ammunition. It takes 1 second to put each grenade into the China Lake and pump it, which will happen faster. So in recapping, your first 2 shots are going to be the same with or without sleight of hand. If you have more ammo, thanks to Scavenger, your second shots will reload faster, but then you still have to pump them at the same speed. This is more of a specialty weapon, and it can be very accurate, but it doesn't really float my boat. That's all for this episode of Black Ops In Depth. I apologize for the delay. We were making these twice per week, but we've hit a lot of delays, a lot of problems. My microphone broke, couldn't get gameplay, COD Blaps updated, if it were realistic happened. Josh disappeared into a black hole, though thankfully he reappeared at a slightly different time and gained knowledge of the future, which is good because he's going to be telling you what next week's episode is, because I can't see the future from my current perspective.
Yes, you are 100% correct. Next, we have the specials. Now, that is going to include the ballistics knife, the crossbow. Even though we did cover the crossbow in this, I want to see if we can get some awesome gameplay with the crossbow, see if we can get some pretty goddamn awesome sticks, things like that. And like I said, we are also going to be going over the ballistics knife as well. So we want to thank you guys for viewing this episode of Black Ops In Depth, going over the tubes and launchers, kind of the explosiveness kind of things. And if you want to check out my channel, Drifter's channel, especially him, or Euphorium Films, they are going to be popping up on the screen as well. And until next time, we will see you guys later.